Happy Saturday, Divine Ones. I wanted to come to you and have a conversation about why I am the wrong person to argue with about healing being impossible. So earlier this week, I made a post that was talking about that if you desire healing in some form, if you desire to heal yourself from an illness or disease, that if you desire it, it is possible for you. Like if you even have the desire itself, that is possible for you. And many people responded to this. A lot of it, most of it was very positive and very affirming and very hopeful. But some people were like, no, you can't heal from things, everything, and all of this type of stuff. And trying to go back and forth and argue with me about why healing is not always possible. So I wanted to share with you why I don't argue about healing being possible, and why I stand very firm in my knowing. It's not just something that I believe, it's something that I know, that healing is always possible. So I'm going to share with you a few things that I know. A few things about me that you probably don't know that are going to prove my point to this. So when I was a kid, starting around 5 years old, all the way through my childhood, I had severe asthma. And I had it severely. So I had to take a daily inhaler. But not only that, but I would get flare-ups usually weekly, at the very least bi-weekly, so like every other week. Severe flare-ups where I had to be hospitalized. And I would have to be hospitalized for a few days, put on several different breathing treatments to kind of restabilize me. And this went on for many years. And I was told that I was going to have asthma, this kind of asthma and this kind of severe asthma all of my life. And that I was going to have to learn how to manage it. And that I would probably have to go in and out of the hospital probably at least once a month. They thought it would decrease a little bit as I grew older. So I would go in instead of every other week or weekly, maybe once a month, and have to get breathing treatments. Well, so basically my asthma was looked at as a lifelong asthma, and it was going to be incurable for me. Well, when I moved away, when I graduated from high school and went away to college, all of a sudden my asthma disappeared. And I no longer had asthma. And I have not had an asthma symptom for 20 plus years now, right? So I don't have asthma anymore. And what was impossible for me and incurable for me is now healed fully. That's number one. Number two, when I was in high school and in middle school, I ran track, and I was a very kind of an elite track athlete. And I ran the sprints, but particularly one of my favorite events to run was the hurdles, the 110 hurdles. And I was very good at that. As a matter of fact, it was my dream at that time to go to the Olympics for track and field. So, but when I was in the 8th grade, during a track meet running the hurdles, I did not stretch well before I ran. And my quadricep muscle during the me running got very tight, and the muscle. So the quadricep muscle is attached to like a tendon that goes over the kneecap, and then that tendon attaches to the bone, the tibia bone, in your bottom half of your leg, right, where your calf and everything is. Well, that muscle got so tight that it snapped a piece of my tibia bone off and pulled it through the growth plate in the knee all the way up into my thigh. And when I went to the emergency room, because I couldn't even stand up, I couldn't move, I couldn't bend my leg or anything. When I went to the emergency room, and the doctor examined me and everything, they said this is a very rare accident. It happens to maybe 2 people every few years around the world, right? This is very rare. This is not a very common thing. And that everybody that this has ever happened to that they were going to have to screw my tibia, like the process was going to have to do surgery on my leg. And if you've ever seen me in shorts, you can see this large scar down my knee. This is where it's from. But they were going to have to remove the tibia plate, the piece of tibia out of my leg, reattach it with screws and all these type of things. And what that meant was that I was never going to run again. I was never going to be able to run again, and I would have problems walking, and that I would never be able to bend my knee past 90 degrees, right? So I wouldn't have full functioning in my knees. So I wouldn't ever run track again, and I wouldn't really be able to play sports again. Well, fast forward to a year later, I was back on the track team. I have full function and range in my knee, and I ran track again, right? I was able to run and all of that, and all I have now is this scar. And that's number 2. So that was impossible, right? So I was told that being able to bend my leg in full motion was going to be impossible. Being able to run again, let alone play sports again, would be impossible. A year later, I was playing all the sports that I used to play, and I still play sports today and run today. That's number 2. Number 3, when I had my near-death experience in 2004, when I had my first near-death experiences, if you follow me for a while, you know I've had 2. So when I had my first near-death experience, and doctors diagnosed me with several illnesses and 2 terminal diseases. The 2 different terminal diseases were kidney failure and AIDS. And they told me, when I asked my doctor, particularly about the kidneys, I said, so when are my kidneys going to come back? Like, when are they going to function again? When I was in the hospital, because I was in the hospital during that first near-death experience, I was in the hospital for a month. And they had told me initially that I had 7 days to live. And after those 7 days, they just kept keeping me in the hospital. And as I was getting, incrementally better, I asked my doctor, like, when are my kidneys going to come back? And they said, your kidneys will never come back. Kidney failure is incurable. It's impossible to heal. And so is HIV, that you will have these for the rest of your life. 3 months after that, after I got out of the hospital, I stayed in the hospital for a month. I lived past the week that I was told that I was going to live. And after I stayed in the hospital a month, I was on dialysis. And after I got out of the hospital, 2 months after I got out of the hospital, so in a total of 3 months after I was first diagnosed in the hospital, 3 months after that, my kidneys fully came back to functioning, and there was no HIV or AIDS in my system anymore. I was fully healed. Something that I was told was impossible. And doctors were calling me a miracle because this is impossible, right? That's number 3. Number 4, a few years after that, after my second near-death experience, I was, several years later after that, I think about like 7 years or something like that, I was having stomach issues. And I thought that it was a parasite in my stomach, because I had a parasite in my stomach the first time when I was diagnosed, and I was given 7 days to live. I also had a parasite in my stomach. And it felt like that. It felt like those same type of symptoms. I was using the bath, I had a lot of diarrhea, and I was noticing blood in my stool. And, but I was taking all of the anti-parasitic medications, and I was also doing herbal cleanses that I had done in the first time, like herbal anti-parasitic cleanses. And I wasn't seeing improvement. So I went to the doctor, and they gave me a colonoscopy to really try and see what's going on. And the result of the colonoscopy was that I had ulcerative colitis, right? And the doctor was talking to me about what that was, and that it was a chronic condition, and that it was incurable. It was impossible, right? Basically, that's what incurable means. It's impossible to heal it. And he gave me some medication he said could try and manage that. It should manage my symptoms. The medication actually never worked. It never managed it, not even a bit. I never received any relief from that medication. But I tried to do what I knew to do, what I had learned to do. One, that it was not that if I was experiencing something, I could also experience the opposite of it. And that healing wasn't, if I could heal, that healing was always possible. And so I did what I've learned to do, which was look at the energy underneath the disease and heal that. And for me, the energy under ulcerative colitis was stress. It was taking too much on. And being overexerted, worrying too much, which was also an issue with me feeling like I was not enough. So I was taking more on to try and be enough, perfectionism and all of that. And that was stressing me out. It was going against the pace that my soul wanted to move through the world within. So I began to address all of that, right? I began to address all the energy of the things. And within about a year after doing all of that, I was fully healed, right? I didn't have ulcerative colitis anymore. There were no more ulcers in my intestinal tract. There were no more illnesses around that in my body. There were no more bleeding in my stool. My intestinal tract was back to fully healthy and functioning. Again, something that was impossible was not only possible, but I made it probable. And so I've had 4 experiences in my life where I have been a living witness and a testimony to the fact that you can heal. And that if you want to heal, and every time I wanted to heal, right? I wanted to heal asthma because I wanted to breathe well, number one. And I also was tired of going to the hospital all the time and having to take this inhaler all the time and all of that. I didn't want that. I wanted to be free of those medications. And I also wanted to have a free kind of joyous, free life out in the world. I wanted to heal, and I did. When I had, the knee, the injury to my knee, and earlier it was to my leg, but injury to my leg, and I was told I couldn't run again. I wanted to run again. Running was very important to me. It was a passion of mine. It was what fed me. It fed my soul. Like I really loved sports, and I really loved being able to move around the world and running, especially running. Running was my favorite. I played many sports and played many sports, but running was always my favorite. And so I wanted to run, and I was able to, right? Even though I was told it was impossible, I was able to do that again. I wanted to heal from kidney failure and AIDS because kidney failure made me, be on dialysis all the time, made me feel trapped, and it made me feel restricted. And I wanted to feel free, and I wanted to experience the world and move through the world as a healthy person, right? I was able to do that. And also the colitis, like I was tired of going to the bathroom all the time. And if you've ever had any type of ulcerative colitis or people who have also Crohn's disease, there's inflammation, there's pain, there's going to the bathroom all the time, uncontrollably. I didn't want that type of life. I wanted ease in my system. I wanted to feel at peace in my body. And I was able to receive that. So I do not argue about healing being impossible because I'm a living witness that it is. And I've learned what it takes to heal ourselves and why it's more than diet. I talk a lot about that here on this page, but also in my teachings, in my workshops, in my online courses, in my client sessions. I teach you what healing actually really takes, right? Why it's more about the energy and consciousness that you hold rather than the diet that you ingest. So I don't argue about impossible. I'm not going to argue with it. If you want to believe that, you get to have that experience for yourself. But just don't come to me because I'm going to challenge you on that every time. If you are someone who wants to heal, I'm going to support that desire. And I'm going to work with you to try and help that desire become your reality. Right? And I'm going to teach you what it takes, right? Now, I am not the person that heals you. Let's get that very clear. I want to clear that up right now. I am not a person that does the healing for you. I teach you what it takes to heal yourself. And your healing is in your hands. It's always in your hands. I'm not interested in taking your power away. I'm interested in introducing you to the power that you actually have. And, you know, so yeah, I'm not the person to argue with about healing being possible. I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to stand with you on it. I'm not going to support that belief for you. I am going to let you have it if you want it. If you want it so adamantly, you get to have it. I'm not trying to change you. I'm not here to change you. I'm here to support your desire. If you come to me, it is because you desire well-being, and I am here to support your journey towards well-being. I am only here to support people. I'm not here to change them. So if you want to believe something is possible, have at it. You can have that, and you can have the reality that that belief creates for you, because our beliefs do create our realities. So if you believe that healing is impossible, that is going to be a reality you will live until you change that belief. But if you're ready to change that belief, or you're ready to further support the belief that you already have begun to cultivate, that you can heal, this is what I'm about. This is why I'm here. And this is what my journey has led me to know. And this is just the message that I'm sharing out there. So just wanted to share that with you all really quickly. Thank you for being here and for listening. As always, 2 things. Don't forget what I told you. Apply it. And number 2, I love you. Now go love yourself. Bye.